Welcome to the Creative Me podcast. Coming to you from Guernsey in the Channel Islands. This is episode 44, How to Pick Effective Instagram Hashtags. Hello, it's Martine here and welcome to episode 44 of the Creative Me podcast. And today we're talking Instagram, or more specifically, Instagram hashtags. Do you have an Instagram hashtag strategy? Do you even know what an Instagram hashtag strategy is? Well, you know what? Up until recently, I didn't, and I definitely didn't have one. But I had been noticing quite a few of the people that I follow seem to be using hashtags quite strategically. So I decided to do a bit of research and implement some changes, assess the changes, and then report back. And I have to say, I've really noticed an improvement on my reach with Instagram through using this approach to hashtags. So of course, I wanted to share it with you. Okay, let's get started. Instagram allows you to use up to 30 hashtags per image post. There are ways to hack around with this to get more hashtags, but actually with the recent advent of shadow banning, I'll make sure I link to an article about it in the show notes, I really don't recommend you go over 30. You'll get caught and it's not a good idea. So use all 30 hashtags would be my suggestion. Some say it looks a bit spammy. If you're discreet with how you use those hashtags, I think it looks okay, and I'm going to explain how to be discreet with your hashtags in a moment. So use all 30 hashtags. Assuming you're using your Instagram feed for business, you can probably use the same 30 hashtags for every image, because I'm assuming that most of your images follow a similar sort of theme. For my Instagram feed, I generally stick with the same 30, but I do have a slight change when I'm sharing quotes. So I do a different set of hashtags for any kind of motivational quotes. However, some of the hashtags carry across, so it's just a few differences really. To make your hashtags a little more discreet, what I suggest you do is put your hashtags in the first comment on your image, so not in the caption. And your hashtags should follow 5 dots, so a dot on each new line. So what it does is it kind of moves the hashtags down. So when someone looks at your image on Instagram, they're not bombarded with hashtags. All they see is a couple of dots, and that looks much better. I'll try and do some screenshots or link to a tutorial of sorts in the show notes so you know what I'm talking about. I should clarify, when I say dots, I mean full stops. You'll find the show notes for this episode at martinellis.com/44. In order to select the right hashtags for your 30 that you're going to use every time, you need to do some research. And this had passed me by completely. It didn't even cross my mind to research hashtags, but now I do it, or I've done it rather, it makes total sense. If you select hashtags that have millions of images attached to them, that hashtag is not going to be useful in getting additional visibility for your image. It's just not going to work. Your photo is going to disappear straight away from view. You know, it won't be on most recent on Instagram for starters. So you need to be selective. You can research hashtags using the mobile app for Instagram. If you go into search and then select tags and type something relevant to get started, and then there'll be more suggested tags, and you can just explore from there. Also, have a look at people on Instagram who are in a similar niche to you, investigate the hashtags that they're using, and you can really start to build a picture of which hashtags are going to be effective for you. In terms of numbers, pick ones that have at least sort of 4,000-5,000 posts associated with them, but I wouldn't go over 500,000. Anything past 1 million and you are not going to get seen. If you're drawing a blank in terms of picking a starting point for your hashtag research, then I would really recommend you think about ways to describe what you do, what your business is, and also who your audience member, your ideal customer avatar might be. If you've not done the ideal customer avatar exercise yet, I highly recommend it. I blogged about this a while back and also created a free worksheet that you can use to work out who your ideal customer is. So I'll make sure I link to that in the show notes, martinellis.com/44. I'll give you an example. My ideal customer is likely to be a blogger or a creative business owner. But blogger is quite specific. I could get even more specific by looking at things like travel blogger, beauty blogger, that sort of thing. But what I would do to get started with my hashtag research is I would put blogger in my tag search and then explore from there. While I'm recording, I'm doing this live. So I've typed blogger into the search box and I've selected tags. What's coming up is Bloggers UK, Blogger Nation, Bloggers Life. Hashtag blogger actually has 34 million posts, so I'm not going to use that, it's too much. Scrolling down a little bit, bloggers has 4 million odd, so yeah, that's not really suitable either. But hashtag blogger tips has just over 7,000, so that might well be a good one to choose. So there's lots and lots of options under blogger. I'm just looking for a few more. Blogger style is a possible one with nearly 22,000. Now, it's not really on brand for me, but Blogger Babes, hashtag Blogger Babes, has 28,000 posts. So I'm just going to select that one and have a look. And by doing so, I can see the top posts relating to this hashtag, and I can get a feel for the sort of content that people are using that hashtag on. Now, let's just pretend it was on brand and it looked like the sort of thing I posted. That could definitely be a hashtag that I use. What's great about selecting a hashtag to investigate it is you get some related hashtags at the very top of your screen. Now, I'm using the iOS app, so I can only assume that the Android app is similar. But the other hashtags that are related to Blogger Babes include Blogger Style, Blogger Life, Style Hole, Blog Post. So it's giving you more and more hashtags to investigate. So you can seriously get sucked down the rabbit hole here with your research. When you're doing this research, it's a great idea to make notes as you go along. So what I'll do is I'll create a one-page printable for you, which you can get at martinellis.com/44, which will have the key points you need to consider when researching hashtags at the top, and then a space for you to make notes on your preferred hashtags underneath. When you've decided on your hashtags, you can use the Notes app on your phone to type them up, and remember to do the .newline 5 times when you type them in your Notes app. That way you can copy and paste them into the first comment of your Instagram post. Alternatively, if your mobile device has a text replacement, an auto text tool, you can pop your hashtags in there. I use an iPhone, and under keyboard in general settings you can do this. The function is called text replacement. So what I do is I put a code and then I add the hashtags. My code is tags. So every time I type tags, I have the option of selecting all my hashtags. Unfortunately, you can't use the 5 dots in this way, but it's a minor inconvenience for having the hashtags so easily available. Righty-ho, that's all from me today. Before I go, just a brief reminder. If you are interested in my Achieve Inbox Zero course, the price goes up from free on the 1st of June. So I really recommend you enroll ASAP. So it's free at the moment, but there will be a cost attached to it in June. I'll put a link in the show notes so you know where to go to enroll. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the episode and I hope you'll tune in next week.